Hello friends, let us see the reactions and then the validity of reactions of Trump's address to the joint session of the Congress. New York Times has come out with a fact check, and let's see how far the fact check is fact. The first point they have raised is the murder rate in 2015 experienced its largest single year increase in nearly half a century. That's what Trump says. Right. Now, what does the New York Times say on that? It says FBI crime statistics estimate that there were 15,696 murders in 2015, up 10% from 2014. And that's what Trump has said. But then it goes on to add that the increase was largely driven by street crime in a handful of large cities like Chicago and Baltimore. See, you cannot take away from the power of the statement by trying to indicate what are the items which are above average and which are the items which are below average. Average will always include some items which are above average and some items which are below average. So that is the position, right? So whatever the defense by New York Times is a very motivated defense. Can we say that? Now next item that Trump said was Obamacare premiums nationwide have increased by double and triple digits. Now what New York Times says, it says true, but then it has some qualification. Double digit increase in premiums are common. So what else everybody is saying? He's saying the same thing. But then he says, President has cited Arizona's 116% increase. It is the only state that experienced a triple digit hike. Anyone who is giving a lecture will not give out the list of all the hikes. He will say what is the norm that he has already said, double digit. Then he will show what is the highest point. The highest is Arizona, 116. So what is wrong with it? So this is again a motivated defense. Can we say that? Next point they raised is families of people killed by undocumented immigrants have been ignored by our media. So here, this is what Trump in 2017 is saying. Now New York Times says, we have covered it. Okay, the case of Jamiel Shah Jr. Right? When was it covered? In 2008. So it itself proves that from 2008 to 2017, for 8 to 9 years, you have not covered any such case. So where is your defense? Next point they are saying is Obamacare is collapsing. That's what Trump has said. Now let us say what New York Times says. It says this is an exaggeration. Why? Premiums for health insurance under Affordable Care Act increased substantially this year. Deductibles are high. Number of insurance companies offering coverage has shrunk in many states. Big insurers losing money in the public marketplace have curtailed their participation. But millions of people with modest incomes have obtained coverage with federal subsidies. So what is wrong? The issue here is, you see, insurance is a business. Insurance is a trusteeship business. Insurance is a business where you collect a premium for many of us or many of the, say, policyholders and pay to the few. And as long as this many small amounts, many into small amounts is equal to few payouts into large amounts, equation stands, insurance company will run. The day it does not stand, it will not run. This simple fact is lost sight of while trying to somehow find fault with what Trump says. So Obamacare is more on emotion, is high on emotion and less on the calculations. So that is again proved once more. Now what the next item Trump says, a National Academy of Sciences report found that immigrants cost the country billions. Now this needs, what is the difference? We have to put it in context. 2016 National Academy of Sciences report found that net cost of immigrants varies drastically by region, but their average cost to United States economy between 2011 and 2013 was 57.4 billion. So you already agreed, proved whatever he said. However, now he goes to hair splitting. Next step is hair splitting. He says, children of children's of children's children, they are giving us benefit because they are going to work for the country. The country is really benefited if people stay in the country and work for it. That's obvious. What our president was saying, Trump was saying, is that it had cost more. Immigration has really cost the economy more. That too when your sources of income are going down, when your economy is shrinking, when you are not producing, when you are not collecting taxes. So that's a given thing. Then next point that Trump has said is over 43 million Americans are on food stamps. Now the defense, even for that you have a defense saying that the number is correct. The number is correct cannot be a defense here. Come on. Next is we have lost, next point he says, we have lost more than 1/4 of our manufacturing jobs since NAFTA was approved, North American Free Trade Area. Now here you are losing factory jobs is a fact. Factories are being located in Mexico is again a fact. Mexico forms part of North American Free Trade Area is again a fact. Now, how can you say that it is not because of NAFTA? The New York Times has got a defense saying that it is not because of NAFTA. No research publication has been made giving a cause and effect relationship to these two. So he is not a researcher. Trump is not a researcher. He is an executive. So once he gets a general trend, so he works on that general trend. So the academics to find out the cause-effect relationship. That is no defense. Then over 43 million people are now living in poverty. That is the stand of Trump. He says, New York Times says true. But then once you say it is true, Census Bureau, it says 43.1 million Americans are living below the federal poverty line in 2015. Then the defense for New York Times is that it might have been more in 2009 and 2010. Who asked you? That is no defense. He has quoted a number and that too correctly. Let's not be disputed. Next is the Keystone and Dakota Access pipelines will create tens of thousands of jobs. Now he says this needs context. New York Times says it is quoted out of context. Now what is the context? When you have public-private partnership and then that is going to create for environmental review these pipelines when it is released, then you have 42,000 temporary jobs in a 2-year construction period. Is it not sizable? So defense has no place here. Next is 94 million Americans are out of the labor force. Okay. Now New York Times has got a very strong objection to it, saying that this is roughly the number of Americans older than 15 who do not have jobs. That's one single statistic. Now he comes out with some other breakup of those statistics, saying that these people include high school, college, disability, stay at home and millions of retirees. See, once the life expectancy increases, once the people retirement comes much earlier than your date of death, and once you have a system in like in USA where your children leave much before, at around 15, 16 or 20 years of age, they leaving the parents. Now what else the parents have to do? They have to go out and work. You cannot say because they are retirees they don't need any work. So that kind of a logic is very, very misleading. Next point Trump has said is we have defended the borders of other nations while leaving our own borders wide open for anyone to cross. Now that is true. You have seen so many things happening, so much of influx from Mexico, from all these Middle Eastern countries, from illegal access through Canada. There are so many facts are there. Okay, and especially these software dumping yard. US has become a software people dumping yard for the entire world. Is it not true? Now, New York Times says it's open in parts. Individuals cannot just walk across the borders, and it says it is guarded by 21,000 border patrol agents. Okay, and 325 official ports are there. Similar number, another 21,000 in ports. Is it sufficient? Is it sufficient for the long porous border that America has with its southern neighbors, Mexico and Cuba? India has 10 times that much with just small pockets of neighbors like Pakistan. So that is no defense. Then we are removing gang members, drug dealers and criminals. That is the statement of intention, and the statement of intent by the president should be taken at that. Now for that, the objection is it is not a big change, because President Barack Obama has already ordered the Department of Homeland Security to make serious criminals a primary focus of deportation efforts. President Trump has only extended it to all undocumented immigrants to be deported. Well, what is the difference? He has only built on the base that is laid by Obama. Should appreciate him for that. Next, President Trump said he ended a regulation that threatened the future and livelihoods of our great coal miners. Again, there is an objection. It says Trump did indeed sign a bill rolling back a regulation that would have prevented coal mining companies from polluting streams. But there is no evidence that the threatened a significant number of coal mining jobs, or the rolling will create new ones. If you say that coal mining is going to pollute your rivers, so stop coal mining, what is the effect? The coal miners lose their jobs. Just plain common sense. You don't need a PhD degree to say that if you allow coal mining in such areas with some safeguards, you will get more jobs. See, whenever a country is trying to regain its position in manufacturing or industrial revolution, or vis-a-vis the production GDP vis-a-vis the other countries, the first area it has to concentrate is primary sector, and coal mining is one of the primary sectors. I think the economics of the president are correct, whereas the economics of New York Times are completely haywire. Next point is enforcing immigration laws will raise wages. That's the point of the president. Now, New York Times says maybe a little. So, what is the question of little, less, more, average, median, mode? It has nothing to do. You are also agreeing that when there is increased competition for the same number of people, more employers fight for the same number of employees, naturally wages will go up. That is pure, just simple demand and supply economics. So there is nothing in defense against that. I have directed several federal agencies to fight crime and dismantle the criminal cartels that have spread across our nation. That's what Trump has said. Now for that, New York Times says true. Once you say true, the next point it adds is they don't do much. That's why your press is there. Make sure that the government does much. Make sure that the government acts on the premise or the promise given by the president. So, this is what I have found out. A malicious, intentional and then crooked misreading of all the statements made by the president in order to somehow say that the press is correct. So let me be very clear here that you see, press survives because the presidents make statements. It's not the other way around. The president don't make statements because the press is there. So once the New York Times, CNN and others understand this basic fact, then I think US president, executive and then the press and the media will get along very well. Thank you for watching.